Good stuff. So I'm going to give you an update on where we are with version 11. Version 11, which came out at the beginning of June this year. Talk about some of the features which are in there and why we added them and all that kind of stuff, and then look forward to the M10 release and to our future releases that we got planned and are developing towards at the moment. So this is going to be a condensed version of the presentation I gave at Chris's shindig in London earlier on this year. So hopefully it's all going to make sense. I'm not going to actually demonstrate any of the features, which is what I did last time. So what have we been doing leading up to version 11? Well, we've been continuing the integration, and Chris has done a good job of talking through how we are integrated. So a lot of the work that we've been doing for APP over the past two or 3 years has been with this integration in mind. So we've been working towards becoming the default print composition engine inside the Arbortext products, and making APP understand style sheets and produce output which is comparable to the FOSSI output, which was previously the default print composition engine. So all of this work that we've been doing, I think, has benefited the standalone product pretty well. There's some new features which have gone into APP standalone, which is, I think, have greatly enhanced the product. Things like adding JavaScript. The block model has completely revolutionized the way I build templates for myself, and a lot of the DOM-based formatting and the XML features which have gone in have also changed the way I build templates quite considerably. Things like the context matching stuff makes it a lot easier to build templates based on what they were before. So hopefully all of this stuff you think has also benefited the product, and we can have a look at the features that have gone into version 11 to enhance that again further. One of the things that Chris pointed out, and I'd like to reiterate, is that this integration work continues to secure the future of APP as a product. Getting this continued investment from PTC, keeping the development team here in Swindon going strongly, and working towards enhancing the product is a great thing, and it would not be possible without this integration work. So I'm very appreciative of that. So we're going to look at some new functionality. As already mentioned, version 11 was introduced at the beginning of June 2011, or maybe even the end of May. We had 4 main development themes. When we look at putting features into a release for APP and for any of the Arbortext products, we look at themes, areas of improvement that we want to make, and then build up specifications for the requirements for each of those areas and the things that we want to do. So we had that, but we also had a PTC-wide directive to upgrade the licensing system, and I'll talk a bit more about that later on as well. So the main development themes that we had were to improve our PDF support. We had a very strong input from our customers that PDF import was a must-have, so we worked hard on that. We've developed further the JavaScript infrastructure, making sure that JavaScript becomes the default coding language for APP templates in the future, and I think that's been a great enhancement to the product. And we also wanted to improve the XML handling, and I'll talk about that in a little while too. So as far as JavaScript is concerned, JavaScript was added to the product in version 10, but really version 11 has come into its own. We've upgraded the JavaScript interpreter. We upgraded the Trace Monkey, which is provided by the Mozilla open source team from SpiderMonkey. It's a lot more efficient, runs as a just-in-time compiler, and has made some performance improvements as far as JavaScript handling is concerned inside APP. Another thing we did was to provide file access from JavaScript. If you're used to writing JavaScript for web browsers, you'll know that you can't, by default, access file systems from JavaScript, and this would lead to all kinds of mayhem on websites. But inside an APP template, it's a very useful thing to do, to be able to get hold of files on your file system, open them, read them, also to be able to save files out using JavaScript, create files, create directories, all that kind of stuff, to create logs and to create reports. output XML, all that kind of stuff. It's a very useful thing to be able to do from an APP point of view, so we added that to our JavaScript support. Again, this was built on an existing library that was provided with the TraceMonkey interpreter, and you can see listed here a set of the methods which are available. If you download the or get hold of the code completion libraries which are provided with the product, you'll see that the file access stuff is all included in there, as well as in the documentation. There's also some demonstration files which I think Chris should be able to make available that were provided at his meeting in London, so contact him to get hold of those, and you can see how those things work. We're also continuing to develop the formatting object model. That's what FOM stands for the uninitiated. Formatting object model is APP's JavaScript API. It's JavaScript's representation of the structures that are inside APP documents and the application itself. So we've further extended that, specifically in the area of frame and page ties and name colors, which were new introductions for version 11. But any of the features and functions that you see later on in this document, in this presentation rather, those are all supported using formatting object model extensions as well. As far as XML is concerned, a big area of work, in fact it's a lot bigger than we originally thought, was to expose DOM level 2 core functionality to allow users to use JavaScript to access the XML DOM which is being held by APP while it's being formatted. This, unfortunately, in the first release of version 11 had the effect of slowing everything down somewhat, and we're working hard in M10 to get that performance back to where it should be. But what DOM level 2 core allows you to do is to not only interrogate and manipulate the existing XML DOM that you're formatting from, but also to create new XML DOMs and drive formatting from that as well. It's a very regular language. It's one which is supported by a number of browsers, and there's plenty of documentation out there to describe it and so you can get up to speed with it. But it's a very useful piece of functionality, and it should allow you to do a whole lot more with XML documents than you could do before with scripting or Perl or even XPath before. We've also extended the context control streams slightly in version 11 F000, which is the main release, the first release to customers. We provided a stream flag so that you can control how contexts are matched. Before this flag was introduced, APP would not only match the context which are declared in context control streams, but they would also match the tag in the old traditional way before context control streams were provided. This flag now allows you to restrict it to one or the other if you want to. So you can exclude tag matching if you want to, or you can exclude context control matching if you want to do that as well, which is quite handy if you want to enforce a particular way of developing your templates inside APP now. PDF output has had a lot of work done to it. For as long as I can remember, we've used our own homegrown PDF output library. This library was very, very efficient, but it did provide us with some problems when we wanted to add in extra new features, such as the things listed here. It would be a lot of work. So what we did is we had a look around at different PDF generating libraries out there. We also looked at the ones which are being currently used by PTC and Arbortext, and we came to the conclusion that the PDF lib library, which is already used by Arbortext, is a very, very good fit with APP and would also expose a lot of the extra functionality that we want to provide. PDF is becoming more and more important, and being able to address the different standards within PDF is also very important. One of the great things that it allowed us to provide is tag PDF. Tag PDF allows you to create almost like tagging structures within your PDF document, and these are used to control how the PDF is read by assistive technology such as screen readers, but also it also provides extra information to the user as well, and allows the document to be reflowed if you want to do that kind of thing. So we provided tools which allow you to specify the beginning of a tag and the end of a tag, as well as specifying custom tag names using a role map. A role map maps a custom name to one of the existing standard structures which PDF tagging supports. So that's a nice feature. There's now a tick box in your PDF options to create a web-optimized PDF. This takes slightly longer to create because it needs to create all the information necessary to load down the first page in the PDF and then continue formatting the rest of it. But it does download a lot more quickly over the web, so the users can start reading the first page or so of a PDF before, while the other stuff is downloading in the background. We've also allowed users to be able to select different versions of PDF. So there's now a drop-down which allows you to select which version of PDF you want to output to, ranging from version 1.3 to extension 3 of 1.7, and these are mapped to the different Acrobat versions from, if we can get this right, I think Acrobat 3 to Acrobat 9. Two-type font embedding is now being improved. APP always converted fonts to its own internal format while putting them out to PDFs. Now the source TrueType font is now embedded, so you're not going to have to search through to find the ADV version of the font. You're going to actually have the original font embedded. This is only available in the Unicode version of APP, but it should provide a lot more sort of cleaner PDFs and allow for PDFs to be edited a lot easier when they're generated from APP. By default now, all your metadata will be output as an XMP instance embedded inside your PDF. We're planning on enhancing that in a maintenance release, but at the moment all the document properties that you've got inside your APP document will be mapped to metadata structures, XMP metadata structures. You don't have to do anything to turn that on, it's just done by default now. And lastly, PDF bounding boxes are included. I don't know why we never did that before, but now the crop, bleed, trim, and media boxes are applied to the PDF, which are based on your print options and your page geometry when you generate your PDF. A lot of these features here are required for outputting to PDF-A or PDF-X standards, so it's great that we got them in here, and you'll see later on how we plan to address those standards from APP. We've also provided PDF import. PDF import allows you to embed a page or several pages from an existing pre-published PDF inside your APP document. You can do that either in a frame, so you can use it as a raster graphic inside a frame, or you can do it in line, again selecting as to place a raster graphic. And while you do that, you can select which page from the target PDF you want to embed. If you're putting it inside a frame, you can do all the typical things that you would do to a raster. You can scale it, you can rotate it, you can crop it, you can move the origin of it, all that kind of stuff. When you generate the PDF output, though, the source PDF part that you specify that you want to embed is actually embedded in the output PDF. So it's not converted to a raster, it's not converted to a graphic in any way, it's actually the source PDF is embedded in the output PDF. Now this was one of the biggest requirements that I had on my list from the user community, so I hope that this feature meets their requirements. It certainly is a nice one. Blocks have been enhanced somewhat. This is a good example of a feature put into APP to meet Stylo's requirements. Stylo provided this thing called side-by-side, but basically it's aligned blocks. So you can format one block alongside another block. You can even get that block to be avoided by the rest of the text, so the content follows, wraps around it. You can, using margins and vertical positions, you can achieve all kind of weird and wonderful results. You can have it slightly out into the margin. You can have it, as you can see in the second one down there, you can have it sort of nested between two columns and the text flow around it. You can rotate it if you want to. You can also nest avoided blocks within other avoided blocks as well if you want to achieve some different looking outputs. These are very useful if you have like a graphic that you want to put in line, that you want the text to flow around, or if you have a title or some side text that you want to be avoided by the rest of the content, then this is the kind of feature to do that. There's 3 new block instructions that allow you to create this. Avoid me tells the following block to avoid the current block. You can turn that off if you want to and see what happens, the way the content can overlap each other and crash into each other. The position reset equals true. Option tells the following block to be repositioned to the start position of the current block. That's how you can get the following block to appear alongside it. And the avoid clear is similar to the clear function in HTML or CSS floats, where you can tell the current block to be formatted below the lowest item in an aligned set of blocks. Oh yeah, you can rotate the aligned block as well, but you can't rotate the following block. That causes some problems. A couple of other things went into version 11. We had a request from one of our customers to be able to have custom hyphenation algorithms. So now you can create a JavaScript function and use that as a hyphenation option. So what happens here is when APP goes to hyphenate a word, it will pass that word to the JavaScript function, and as long as the JavaScript function returns a string in the right structure, then the hyphenation engine will use those hyphenation points to break the word up. So you can now create your own custom hyphenation algorithms. So if you want to, for example, hyphenate chemical names in a particular way, or you have long APIs or URIs, that kind of thing that you want to hyphenate in a particular way, then you can create your own algorithm to do that, which is quite a nice feature. One of the other things that we squeezed in at the last minute was support for the Pantone Plus color books. So these color books are replacing the existing color books from Pantone. What Pantone did was basically restructure the way that they order the colors. None of the colors definitions have changed as such. Rather, the order that they appear inside their color books has changed into this new order, which is more based on color, I think. So we now support those inside APP. Already mentioned that licensing changed, and you're probably aware of that now, that version 11 is out. We're now using the new Flex system from which brings us in line with the rest of PTC. The Flex system allows us to support both locked and floating license types. A floating license allows you to grab a license from a pool of licenses in your office or at your site, and you can use it on any machine, and when those number of licenses have run out, then you'll be blocked from using APP. A lock license requires it to be tied to a specific machine, so be careful when you're choosing which license type that you want. For version 11, dongles will no longer be supported in the software. What this means is that if you've got a dongle, existing dongle, you get to keep that, and you can use that with your previous versions, but from version 11 you'll need to get a new license key. It doesn't cost you anything, you just need to be on maintenance, and you can get hold of that license key from PTC or whoever your support provider is. The web interface for obtaining license keys has been updated, and it's a lot easier to do that, and a lot quicker than it was before. I always found it a bit of a nuisance to get hold of a license key, but the new web interface is a lot easier. So that's what we provided in version 11, but we are going to be providing some new features in maintenance releases. So in version 10, we're going to spend the majority of our time fixing up the performance issues that we noticed in version 11. Those came in around the XML DOM handling as well as some of the JavaScript stuff. So we're going to be fixing that up and doing a lot of bug fixing in all our maintenance releases, but the team here are sort of got their heads down now working on those bug fixes. M10 is going to provide the ability to use JavaScript functions directly from context control streams. So context control streams could only do sort of call a tag, an APP tag, but now the onEnter or onExit keywords can now call a JavaScript function directly. That will be provided in M10. M10 will also provide color profile support. So you'll be able to specify a working space for your different color spaces, and then choose to embed that in your PDF as you output it as the output intent. We're also going to support color profiles which are embedded inside graphics. Now what this does, and the reason why we're doing this, is it's going to allow us to provide PDFX, and PDFA output out of the box. So we're going to be providing a drop-down in our PDF output options to be able to specify which standard of PDF that you want to output to. And what that will do is it's going to set a number of PDF properties, including the color profile stuff, whether you need tag PDF or not, and so on, and how fonts are embedded, etc. It's going to set all that stuff up, so you can output to those standards, which a lot of people are requiring now. Hopefully in M20, and I should draw your attention to the disclaimer at the bottom of the page, that things can change without us having to tell you all about it. Hopefully in M20 we're going to have support for custom XMP metadata, so users will be able to create their own XMP metadata instances either inside their APP document or on their file system, and then load and use that to generate the XMP as they go out. At the moment we think that it's probably best that users are responsible for their own validation of that XMP, but maybe we can do something about that in the future. We also want to provide object saving, JavaScript object saving, hopefully in M20, but it may be M30. And what this means is that when you're creating template objects in the formatting object model, and by template objects I mean objects which are saved off the template object inside your APP document, we want to be able to save those into the APP 3D file that gets created, so that when you open up the 3D file again, those objects are there waiting to be used rather than having to be recreated again. One of the other things we want to provide in a maintenance release is an Eclipse plugin. We already provide some code completion libraries for the JSDT plugin to Eclipse to help you write JavaScript for APP, but what we want to do is provide a plugin, a true plugin, which allows you to develop and debug APP code in a nice SDK. What this will do is allow you to look into the APP document while it's being formatted, whether that's being formatted inside on Enterprise, on the desktop, or inside APE, and pause it, find out what object properties are, what variable values are, and debug your code in that sort of nice SDK kind of environment. It'll also have the ability to pull content out of the APP document and edit it actually in the Eclipse plugin rather than editing it in the yellow bar. I think that'll be a nice feature too. Forthcoming releases, these are things which we've got on the radar, but we haven't targeted for a specific release. If they don't come in a maintenance release, then they come in a full release. We want to consolidate our font handling. We're aware of some deficiencies in our OpenType handling, and we want to address that. But at the same time, we also want to get font families up to speed and how those are related to pseudo fonts. We want to get that up to full strength as well. We also want to provide some transparency and opacity support for our PDF output. And what this will mean is that you can give an object, any object, a level of opacity, so you can see through things, useful for things like watermarks, but also sort of color blocks which overlap other color blocks, that kind of thing. In support of a lot of the work that PTC are doing and the rest of Arbortext are doing with around 3D and multimedia, we want to have some support for interactive PDF. So this will be embedding things like video, embedding 3D objects inside PDF, interacting with those, and being able to provide ways of scripting that interaction from APP. If we're adding scripting support, then we need to, it makes sense to provide support for PDF forms and PDF layers at the same time. And a lot of this stuff is made easy by the PDF lib integration that we've got, and we just need to expose it in a nice way through the APP interface. We also want to provide support for footnotes in blocks. Currently, footnotes really only work well at a page level, but more and more we're using blocks to determine column widths and column configurations, so it makes sense to provide footnotes at that level as well to fit in with the block structures that we want to do. We also want, and we've had to go ahead to start on a project to overhaul the user interface of APP. So all the lovely colors in the dialog boxes, the yellow bar, all that kind of stuff, we're going to hopefully throw all that away and build a new user interface from scratch. It's going to be a lot more up-to-date looking. It's going to be very accessible. It's going to enable users to create templates and documents a lot quicker and easier. It's going to use a lot of the common dialog language that is used by our competitors, as well as other products out there which do similar things. So it's going to improve the ability for new users to get up to speed with the product and be able to access the true power of the product without having to resort to code all the time. We're going to target it towards 3 main roles: the template designer, which is what the majority of our users use it for, but we also want to address the DTP type user and what I call a document finisher, which is similar to the touch-up process that Chris was describing earlier, where somebody will take a document that's been formatted on a server, they would open up on their desktop and they just want to tweak 1 or 2 things. They need a specific set of tools, similar to the DTP user, but probably a reduced set of those things. They want a specific set of tools which allow them just to tweak the job and then generate the PDF quickly out the back of it. We also want to be able to support custom interface configurations and dialog box creation. We're obviously aware that a lot of people use existing APP dialog box stuff to get input from users, so we need to be able to support that in the new user interface. And finally, Chris has already mentioned that we want to standardize on APE for our server product. APE does a lot more than APP Enterprise does as far as generating different types of output and all that kind of thing, so it makes sense to standardize on that as our server product. We'll only take away APP Enterprise when APP has got all the functionality it needs to make the migration a painless process between Enterprise and APE. And as I'm the product manager for APE as well, then I'm in charge of making sure they have the full requirements for that. And I've got a long list of features which need to go into there. Finally, I don't know why that was animated. We want to be able to support 3D graphics. That's part of the interactive PDF support. PTC products can output a U3D graphic format, which is a universal three-dimensional graphic format. And we want to be able to embed those inside PDFs and interact with them. So you can go to different view states in there. You can highlight various parts by clicking on links inside your output. All that kind of stuff is what we want to be able to provide support for. So hopefully, Chris, that's a quick version of what we delivered in version 11, as well as what we aim to provide in M10, M20, and the forthcoming releases of APP. If you've got any questions about it, just drop me a line and I'm more than happy to talk to you about those things.
Thanks very much, Simon.